taking out all that guesswork on the optimization. It's taking out the guesswork and loading the VMS. That VMS is staged for them, and it's allowing them to be able to configure cameras and be ready to deploy in really just a matter of minutes versus hours.
Maestro in and of itself is an orchestration software. We allow people to plug a server in and they can license cameras in about 18 minutes, which typically would take about 5 or 6 hours if you bought something, common off the shelf.
It also saves time because it eliminates hundreds of keystrokes.
Maestro is going to be our software orchestration tool. So out of the box, this is where we talked about the out-of-box experience too, is you cut the tape to configuring cameras and you're at 18 minutes. We've taken care of that for you. With the competitors, like I said, it could be 5 hours or so.
So on the front end, making sure that you have tools like Maestro to help with seamless, there's no room for human error, it's all automated. It's decades upon decades of industry experience rolled into a wizard that you click your way through.
The Maestro tool, one of the deployment tools on our servers. From what I've heard from some integrators, it takes 2, 3, 4 hours to install. With our piece, with our Maestro piece, it could take up to 20 minutes.
It's the same keystroke every time, so it saves you money and time on installs.
Maestro really orchestrates that from the beginning to the end. And you can see that all the way down to support and things like that, where you're clicking on the icons and really just touching on it instead of making multiple phone calls for support.
Now you're monitoring and managing it in the field from a health standpoint, from a performance standpoint, and really decreasing the TCO, the total cost of ownership, because you've scoped in the right solution at the right price. You rolled it out in a very efficient manner. You're managing it proactively in the field. And then the value of SBAR really is when something happens, which technology inevitably is going to happen, right? What's the partnership like, and what fail-safes are there to get you out of hot water?
xConnect is the best. It is a huge value to our partners.
xConnect is a health monitoring agent, and it also allows for remote access.
You can do remote downloads of software patches and everything else, or camera cycle up and down remotely without rolling a truck.
Any partner out there that has a maintenance agreement, contract, things like that, this is a huge asset to add to your company. It's an add-on to your agreement, so you can be proactive in your support.
SBAR allows you the backup and recovery of all of your data from your operating system to all the keystrokes that you had for camera installation. All that's backed up on an internal 64 gigabit drive.
SBAR in and of itself is one of the most fantastic tools.
Tools like SBAR that we put out are really there for that risk mitigation, right? Let's get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Things go wrong, but when it goes wrong, you're gonna have all hands on deck to try to make it work.
For SBAR, that's the safety net you fall back on. If anything happens in the system to the point where there's a catastrophic failure, then we will mitigate all risk, right? You can actually have a default saving to your system of the whole OS, anything on that operating system, right? Save to your camera configurations and things like that. We have a lot of examples where systems went down for multiple weeks because they had to manually go set them all back up. With SBAR, you can take screenshots of that system and be back up within 30 minutes.
SBAR mitigates that catastrophic failure. So you have the ability to actually make a backup of your operating system. And you also have the ability to make a backup of your installation of your VMS platform. And then more importantly, you can actually make a backup of the configured system as well. So in the event you have catastrophic failure, that internal drive will allow you to be up and running in a very short period of time, as opposed to actually reprogramming the entire system.
If you think about Maestro, xConnect, SBAR, and even our project configurator tools, what we're taking is an accountability of the life cycle of our customer and the folks who we partner with.
So our three main components to the piece of hardware, right, is going to be Maestro, xConnect, and SBAR.